Hello, captains. Hope you're having a wonderful time out there. I am moving quickly and swiftly on this character, Mirror Ricky, my DSC Starfleet faction character in Star Trek Online Age of Discovery. I am moving very quickly on this character. So, in the last video of this series on the playthrough of the DSC faction, you saw that I equipped and previewed the prototype light exploration cruiser Walker class scaling starship. It is the starship that scales from a tier 1 to a tier 4. Well, since that video, I have done a ton of updates. I have continued leveling my character, and I made a bunch of updates to that ship. And since then, I have actually done a full review of that ship. So in the top right corner, I will put a link to my full review. It's an hour-and-a-half long review, and it is of that prototype light exploration cruiser. In that video, I am level 44, so I am a Rear Admiral lower half in that video, and I review the ship as a Rear Admiral lower half, and that is technically the tier 5 level of starship you would have at that point, but I instead went ahead and kept the prototype light exploration cruiser during my tier 5 career and used it for all of that, and it was a very good ship all the way up here to level 50. And now you can see I am now level 50. I am a Vice Admiral on this character now, so I have made even more updates since that review video of that ship. But in that review, definitely go back and watch that, and you will see what I thought of that prototype light exploration cruiser Walker class. It was a great ship. I really enjoyed using it, and I just made the preview video on it, and then I made the full review video on it, and that's pretty much all the time I really need to spend on that ship. Because it is a limited time ship that you'll have in the game. It's not a ship you will use at end game, but it is a ship that you can use right from the get-go of the faction, right after the tutorial, and honestly use it all the way up to level 50. And at level 50, Vice Admiral, you're now able to get a tier 6 starship. That means you can practically skip getting a tier 5 starship on the DSC faction. And that's what I ended up doing. I just totally skipped over a tier 5 starship, and I let that one be my tier 5 starship. And it worked out really good. I had Mark 10 gear on it, which was Rear Admiral lower half gear. I could have put 11 on it at upper half, but really wasn't worth it. I just had Mark 10 gear on it all the way through to level 50 here. And you will see that I still have it equipped on me. Here it is, prototype light exploration cruiser. It is still equipped because I just now hit 50. And in this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to preview the next ship that I'm going to put on this character, which is the Europa. We're going to go into the Europa. I've never owned it before, have no idea what to expect, but it is tier 6, and I can now equip that because I am now level 50 Vice Admiral. Other than that, I haven't made any updates to the character, except I guess I have Mark 10 level gear on my ground setup, but it's all kind of mismatched and stuff right now. I haven't really been doing a lot of ground missions. I've really been doing a lot of space missions to level myself up. I've been doing a lot of patrols and a lot of Defend Starbase 1 and, you know, all the different things you can do in the Task Force Operations content and everything to level myself up. So I haven't really done a ton of ground stuff, but I do need to upgrade my ground stuff. And I also will need to upgrade my space stuff because now that I am level 50, I can actually use Mark 12 level gear. So I will need to upgrade my gear to Mark 12 and get new gear for my ship and so forth. And finally decommission the light exploration cruiser, and we'll get the Z-Store Europa tier 6. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do right now in this video. But before I do that, I want to jump into space Just in case you have not watched my review of the prototype light exploration cruiser Walker class, I just wanted to once again show you what my specifications ended up being in space here before we decommission this ship. So again, here's the prototype light exploration cruiser. Has been a really good ship flying it in this game, and I really had a great experience with it. But I am level 50 now, and I'm ready for that tier 6 ship because I'm feeling the burn on this. Once you hit Vice Admiral, you really do need to go ahead and get that next tier of ship, that tier 6 ship, because this one, remember, it maxes out at tier 4 stats. So it has its limits. But I just wanted to go over the final specs. I'm at level 50 right now, so all my specs will replicate or show you what the power levels and everything are like at level 50, Vice Admiral. And just so you know what my skills are at, because that obviously is going to affect the numbers and everything too. I have put hull capacity is maxed out on my skills. Shield capacity is maxed out. I have all of the full impulse energy shunt stuff. I have advanced impulse expertise. I have all of the ablative hull plating stuff here maxed out. I've got the defensive subsystem tuning and offensive subsystem tuning, and I have warp core potential and warp core efficiency all maxed out. I have long-range targeting sensors maxed out on the tactical stuff here. Of course, I got your weapon stuff done here. I've got targeting expertise. I got weapon amplification and specialization, crit chance and crit severity. I got hull penetration maxed out, and now I'm working on shield penetration. So that is what my skills are at. So you can see it's very heavily leaned to engineering and tactical, not so much on science. I'm basically just using science to get that long-range targeting sensors maxed out, and then the shield capacity. And then on the traits, I can actually add a new trait now, which I will have to do. But a couple of things that are helping me is like this one, which gives me maximum hull hit points, increasing my hull strength even more. I have maximum shield capacity as well. I've got Thrill Seeker, so that's plus 15% flight and full impulse speed, accuracy, beam cannon, buffs, and then Warp Theorist. So those are the skills that and traits and skills I'm using, which overall end up buffing, you know, all the stats on this ship. But right now I'm at 120 weapon power, 77 shield power, 67 engine, 57 auxiliary. I really felt with this ship that I wanted a higher engine speed, turn rate and engine speed, because it just moved a little too slow for me, especially toward the beginning tiers of this game. And I really like a fast-moving starship. And so I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the Europa, because I may have to do similar stuff on it. But I do like a fast-moving and fast-turning starship, so I have buffed a lot into engine power and turn rate on this ship. But just to go over the basic build that I had on this ship, if you didn't watch the review video, I did go over all of this in the review video. So watch the review video first. But if you haven't watched it yet, I did grind the Soul Defense System on this ship, and that is obtained in the episode Iconian War episode, a mission called Midnight. It's the very last of the Iconian War missions. I ran that 3 times and got the Soul Defense Deflector Array, the Soul Defense Impulse Engine, and then the Soul Defense Covariant Shield, which has been a great set on this ship. And it was a way to get, because I didn't have access to the reputation gear at the time, so this was a way to get a really good mission set on this ship that I could do by just playing a mission. And so I did that. And then of course I have had this on this ship all this time. This is the Plasma Integrated Warp Core with engine capacity, shield to engine speed, and sector speed travel. Again, more about that engine speed stuff there. Now the weapons I've had on this ship are basically the default weapons that come with this ship this whole time. I've had emitter-linked phaser beam arrays. An emitter-linked phaser improves shield healing and shield hit points. But the interesting thing about these that come with this ship is that these are scaling weapons. Even though it doesn't look like it, These weapons scale with your level, but only to tier 4. After tier 4, they do not. So that's why there's a large discrepancy. Like this one here that I have purchased is 468 DPS, and this is 454 DPS. This is 585 phaser, 567 phaser. These stop scaling after that tier 4. So that has worked up until now, but what I'll have to do on the Europa is do something different. And I'm probably going to go with some type of phase, or some type of sensor linked or integrity linked or emitter linked phaser based weapons on the Europa. I don't know what it comes with, but I want to keep this Discovery era style weaponry on the ship because this is my Discovery era character, and I want to keep that theme of the Discovery era faction. And so I'm going to have to find weapons that are like that, and I believe it's just going to be similar to these kind of phaser beam arrays, but you know, the sensor integrity or emitter linked ones. So I will have to configure that, of course, and then my consoles, they'll probably end up changing too, of course, but for right now I have the phaser damage, I have a shield capacity, I have engine power setting and an RCS and the neutronium. But of course on the Europa, who knows what I'll end up using. I'll have to go through all that. My stats currently on this ship, so we can compare them to the Europa when we get it, is 310% power transfer rate right now, 41,112 hull strength. I have pretty much doubled the hull strength of the normal hull strength of this ship. The base hull strength of this ship is pretty much doubled at this point. My shield strength is at 10,244. Again, that's very high for this type of ship because its shield modifier is only, I think, 1.1 on it. My resists are near 40%, 2.5 crit chance, 50% severity, and my turn rate I have buffed to 19.8 degrees per second. So that's where I'm sitting at there, 41,000 hull, 10.2. So we're going to see what the Europa has on it as we equip it right now. Let's go back to Earth's space dock and let's jump out of this ship and jump into a Europa. What do you say? So the Europa is kind of a dually kind of ship. First of all, it's a cruiser, but it's kind of a dual kind of ship because it is based on the 23rd century Discovery era ships. There is a ship just like it in the 23rd century Discovery era. However, in this game, they have made it a Tier 6 ship, so it has basically two kind of skins to it. One that looks like a modern 25th century Starfleet vessel, and then one you can put on that should look like the Discovery era that it's actually from. So just think of this like it's a remade Discovery era ship, but with all the stats of the 25th century. So let's go to the Z store. Let's go to items. No, let's go to ships. Item. Let's go to Europa. I'm very excited for this. Europa Heavy Battlecruiser Tier 6, 3,000 Zen. And here's some pictures of what it looks like. I can't wait. That's the modern 25th century skin on it. Obviously, I'm going to put the Discovery era skin on it. Let's do it. 3,000 Zen, go bye-bye. Welcome to the Barletta, apparently. USS Barletta. I don't know a whole lot about it. I really haven't read here. Let's see, we got 5 weapon slots and 3. Our base hull is higher at 46,000 than our other ship was at level 50. Raises to 54,000 at 60. 1.1 shield modifier, 5 fore, 3 aft. Commander engineering. It uses specialized command seating. Only 2 tactical, but 5 engineering, 3 science. Turn rate is 7. Yeah, that's going to bother me right there. That turn rate is 7. I'm going to have to buff the turn rate on it for sure. But +5 to weapon, +10 to shield, +5 to engine. And it's got a SIF linkage console. We'll look at that. Okay, the ship should be in my ship thingy. Let's take all the stuff off of this one first. I'll probably won't be using a lot of it, but starting off here I may. Let's see. I'll even take the console off because I may end up using that console. I really liked the console on this ship, the universal console. Okay, now everything is off of this ship. It's ready to go to the wayside. One thing that I'm going to note here, you'll see in my inventory, I did go ahead and purchase the entire Aegis set. This starts at Mark 12. It's the Aegis Covariant Shield, Aegis Hyper Impulse Engine, Aegis Deflector Array, which is part of the Aegis Technological Research set. You get a Set 2 and Set 3 bonus. This is what I'm going to have on the Europa until I get reputation stuff. The Aegis set is a very, very good stand-in until you get the reputation stuff. I could also use the Soul Defense stuff, but I think I want to go for the Aegis stuff right now because I've been using the Soul Defense stuff for a while now, so let's go with something new on our new ship. Let's go to the ship selector, and I'm interested to see what the default configuration on this ship is because I have no idea. There it is. Let's ready Starship. And now let's look at what it is by default. So here is what the Europa Heavy Battlecruiser Tier 6 comes with by default. It looks like they have put one photon torpedo in the 4 weapon slots and one photon torpedo in the aft. They have given us regular Mark 10 phaser beam arrays. 2 of them. 2 back here and 2 up here. And oddly enough, a phaser dual cannon. Now this is odd because dual cannons definitely don't do as much damage as, say, dual heavy cannons. And they still only have a 45-degree targeting arc, so you don't really gain anything from the dual cannons. I mean, you might as well rather have dual heavy cannons if you're going to have any kind of cannons on it, because the targeting arc is the same. So this dual cannon option thing is kind of an odd choice for this ship. Just like everything is beams, and then just this one dual cannons. Kind of an odd thing, because you're not really maximizing your weapon power that way. And then it has a dual beam bank. So yeah, they gone like, and that has a narrow targeting arc too. That's only 90-degree targeting arc. So they've gone with some narrow targeting arc weapons in the front, and these cannons even narrower at 45 degrees. And they're just regular dual cannons, not even dual heavies. And then they got beams in the back and 2 beams in the front. It's an interesting configuration, but it's definitely not what I would have chosen. And then of course we just have a standard deflector array, impulse engine, warp engine, and a shield, all Mark 10. So definitely we'll have to do a lot of upgrades on this thing, which I am very much looking forward to do. Here is the console, which they put it in a tactical slot. Why would you waste? I mean, you would only have one tactical available if you put it in there. That's so dumb. So yeah, I'm going to move it to my engineering slots because I've got 5 of them. So this, let's see, this does plus 7.5 shield power setting, plus 15 starship hull capacity, massive survivability buffs, damage shared from team to you, 2 teammates within 10 kilometers for 20 seconds, plus 50% hull regeneration, reduces the post-resistance damage they would take by 50%, to self for 20 seconds. You take 50% of the damage prevented this way as radiation damage, plus 100 to 200 bonus all damage resistance rating based on number of targets, plus 50% hull regeneration, prevents those affected from activating this console for 60 seconds. Well, that's just a lot of stuff, and I have no idea what any of that means. I'm going to have to figure out what this thing actually does. It's kind of long in description here. But I guess it's beneficial. I'm going to read about it, and of course I'll use it in combat a lot. And in the full review of this ship, I'll get back to you on how that thing actually helps you. For now, I have no idea. I guess it's got some kind of regenerations built into it. Maybe when you, like, take a lot of damage, it's got hull regeneration or something. Yeah, I'll have to look and see what that does. But for right now, because we're going to go into space and definitely do some battle with this ship, let's go ahead and equip my 2 phaser things there. That's maxed out. And actually, these can be upgraded now. But I need stuff to upgrade with. Before I put anything else on it, let's actually go into space first and see what the default specifications on it are before I start adding stuff to it. I just want to see what it looks like by default. It does have the masteries. We've got physical and kinetic damage resist rating. We've got critical severity buff. We've got energy and radiation damage resistance. We've got hull hit point buff. And then the trait says heal and healing buff at low hull. When you drop below 50% health, you gain a 50% bonus hull healing for 20 seconds. And to self and allies, plus 404.9 hit points. Okay, so we're going to... So that's cool. So if you automatically go below 50% health, these buffs will start occurring on you. That's cool. I like that trait. Of course, I'll have to unlock all of those and see how that works out. Let us go now... Well, let's look at the stations. It looks like we've got... Is that universal? Or is that science? No, that's universal. Yeah, so we have a universal station. We got a tactical station. 2 engineering and 1 science. And then the science has command on it. So I will definitely have to spend some time here. Okay. Figuring all what powers I need and so forth. Cool, I could use those 2 for tactical, and then I'd have 2 tactical, 2 engineering, and 1 science. That's probably what I'll end up doing. I'll use the universal for tactical. That way I'll have 2 tactical bridge officers, 2 engineering, 1 science. And I'll go ahead and train my science, I guess, in command, so I can try some command abilities too in the science. Because I've got a lieutenant commander seating here, so I could have some pretty good command ability there. It's not gonna show that. Yeah, I'll have to get some training manuals and all that, make them command. So that will be something that I will have to work on there. Alright, let's go to ship customizations and see about that Discovery skin. I really want this ship to look like it's Discovery era. Even though it looks really cool as a 25th century design, quad nacelles and all that, I really want the Discovery era. So what can we do? What do we have here? Okay. We've got Discovery era Starfleet Type 1. Discovery era Starfleet Type 2, Discovery era Starfleet Type 3, and Discovery era Starfleet Type 4. Now, which one looks more Discovery-esque? Honestly, I think it's 1. 2 is too light, because the Walker class I just previously had was darker than that. The Type 3, no, I'm not feeling that. And the Type 4, I'm not feeling that either. So I think Type 1, maybe. I have an NX on it as well. A Type 0, maybe Type 0. That kind of looks really retro. That looks like TOS, actually, a little bit. Type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8B. I've got an 8 and an 8B. Is maybe 8B, is that more Discovery era? Actually, I don't know which one is more Discovery era. I'm going to have to go online and look at what this ship looks like in Discovery, or what its design is supposed to look like in Discovery. So you guys tell me, which one do you think is better, 8B or Discovery era Starfleet 1? I kind of like 8B, but then maybe this one is more canon to what the ship is supposed to look like in Discovery. I don't know. You guys tell me which texture here. Also have upgrade and a veteran. Boy, that upgrade one actually looks really good. Tell me which texture this ship is supposed to be the quote Discovery era version of this ship, because I don't know which one it's technically supposed to be. But I would like to know, please. Right now I'll stick with Discovery era Starfleet Type 1, but yeah, let me know in the comments what it should be, if it's from Discovery, what it's supposed to be. And it looks like we only have the Walker interior bridge, which is a shame. No specialized bridge for it. Oh wait, we got Nimitz. Oh wait, oh, the Nimitz. The Nimitz is what it's supposed to be for the Discovery era. You guys are probably screaming right now at your you're probably screaming at me. Hit the Nimitz button. Hit the Nimitz button. It's the Nimitz one. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Europa is the modern version. It's the 25th century. And then the Nimitz, that is obviously the Discovery era one. Okay, okay, I get it now. I get it now. You stop yelling at me. And that changes the quad nacelle nature. They look a little different there. The whole thing looks different, actually. Ooh, I like that. And it has a big old sticking outy deflector dish. I like that. Okay. Now the question is, which material fits the Nimitz? And it's telling me Discovery era Starfleet Type 3 fits the Nimitz. But is that really correct? I really like Type 1. But I don't know if that's correct. There's Type 2. And there's Type 3. And then there's Type 4. So again, I still need your help, actually. I'll leave it on 3 since that's what it was when I selected it, but let me know in the comments actually which one it's supposed to be. Which one is the Nimitz skin supposed to be that's canon to the show? But there we go. At least now I can make it look like the Discovery era ship. And that's what I'm definitely going to fly there. Ooh, and I can change. I can even mix and match the styles if I wanted to. Like there's the Europa, there's the Nimitz. I can add a pattern to it if I want, of course. Don't have one right now, but right now this is the design. Nimitz with Nimitz windows and Discovery era Starfleet Type 3. Just let me know if that's the right material or not. Let's go up into space. See what it looks like. We'll get all the stats on it too. Automatically I put my power toward weapons. Actually, it looks pretty good with that skin. So I may go ahead and keep that skin, but still let me know what your opinion is on the skin. So I like the deflector dish, the way it sticks out. I'm not sure where the bridge is located. I guess maybe up here. Maybe. These are spinning. Check that out. Spinny spinners. It's got spinners on it. Yep, they're all spinning. And it looks like it has thrusters just like the Walker class had on the hull. So maybe this can do atmospheric flight as well. Questionable. Maybe it can, because it's got the same kind of thrusters on the top and underneath the hull and everything, where it could fly in an atmosphere if it needed to. So the Walker class can fly in an atmosphere, and maybe this one can too. I'll have to look up the lore on it. And what else do we have visually here? I'm guessing this is the shuttle bay. Impulse engines are up here. Interesting kind of design. This is interesting. The way this is actually built into the hull, like these warp nacelles are not separated. There's no space between them. It's like built in. It's got this sloped down kind of thing here, which I have no idea why it needs that or does that, but it does. It does do that. Well, that's a very interesting looking ship, huh? Alright, so I'm at 120 weapon power, 85 shield power, 54 engine power, and 47 auxiliary. My current stats I'm sitting at, ooh, look at my hull strength, is 68,698. So having those skills and everything that I have buffed in the hull is really improving my hull strength on this thing. 8,000 on the shield. Of course, that's all I have equipped right now. The turn rate is going to bother me. I'm at a 12 degree, but I want more than that. So yeah, definitely we'll need some work on this ship. Let's see what the turn rate looks like. Yeah, see, that's too slow for me. I'm going to need an RCS on that for sure. Yeah, that turn... Imagine also they've put dual cannons on a ship that has a turn rate like this. 45 degree arc, dual cannons on a slow turning starship makes no sense at all. I like the forward on look at that. Look at that. Looking right at it. That has got a nice view right on. And it also has a nice aft view right on as well. I can see this being a precursor to, you know, the starships we know today with the big saucers and everything. This is definitely a good, like, precursor ship. It looks like I cannot set off the unique console unless I'm in combat, so we will have to go into combat to do that. Let me go ahead and just quickly put some buttons on here so we can do some combat in this video, because I do want to test it out. So I'm just gonna haphazardly throw some my buttons on here so I can use them in combat. That way we can demonstrate its abilities here. Let's see, what else do I want? Just, you know, to get some things on here so I can test it out real quickly. There we go. That's mostly everything. That'll get me going so I can test the ship in combat here. And I got multiples of things. Oh well, it doesn't matter. All my weapons are on auto fire, and I'm going to go into combat with the default configuration on this ship first, the default weapons that it comes with, so that we can see what that's like. But there are a couple of things I'm probably want to throw on here just so that it's a little bit better. First thing, let's look at a visual. Let's put on the Aegis shield visual. I'm curious what that makes the shield look like. Cool. Look what the Aegis shield does to it. Trons it out for sure. Ooh, I like the looks of that on the Aegis shield. That is actually very cool. In fact, since we're going into battle, let's just go ahead and put my normal stuff on here that I'm going to use. Because really at this point what I just want to see is how the weapons fire. The weapon configuration it has. So I've got everything on there except the weapon setup is the default. I want to see what the default weapon setup looks like. So now I'm at 68,698 hull. Let's see, I'm at 13,000 shield, so that's definitely a lot better now. My resists are back up. My turn rate is now 15.4. I put that RCS on there. Let's get rid of the deflector visual. So with that RCS on there, turn rate's a little bit better now. That's definitely a lot better. Let's take this thing into combat just as it is now and see what these weapons are like when I'm firing on enemies. What can I do that won't hurt a lot of people? I could try to find a patrol and just do something on my own. I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to find a patrol so that I don't interfere, and I don't even know what patrols I have available. So this ship is traveling at warp transwarp 12.7. I'm gonna fly around here until I find a patrol. No idea where one is. I've done a lot, but you can see, for some reason I can't go back and do them over again unless I see one shows up in here. And I don't. So I'm just gonna have to go flying through space until I find a good patrol to do, which is not here. I'm just gonna go from system to system until I find something. So I'm gonna pause the video here, but I will come right back when I find something. Okay, welcome back everybody. It looks like I might have found something here in the Tazi system, Patrol Tazi system, so let's try it. Let's see if this works out. Cloaked Klingon ships. Well, I guess that'll work. Okay, defeat Klingon patrols, 0 of 5. Perfect. This is absolutely perfect to test our ship, and it's a nice bright map too. Alright, well let's take out some Klingons and let's see what these weapon systems do on this ship. Again, I'm not too keen on the default weapon configuration, so let's see. Well, okay. The beams are nice. The phaser beams are nice. But I have a problem with the dual cannons because while they do fire when I'm firing forward, if I fire from the side, which you do a lot in a cruiser, you fire from, you know, the side like this, fire toward the enemy like that. The cannons don't do anything at that point because they have a very small 45-degree arc. So the cannons only help me if I'm firing forward. Like here's the arc of them right here. I can hover over. See how narrow that arc is? So if I'm firing like this, they're not going to do anything. If I click on this enemy and fire like that, the cannons cannot do anything. Even the dual beam banks, look how far they go. They only go that far. So the beam arrays, look at that. They work well. But it's the cannon that's just like, man, what's the point of that? See, when I fire sideways like this, no cannons. What's the point of that? Even the dual cannon's not working. Because that's too narrow, see? I'm outside of that arc. And here's the arc of the cannons. Now when I come back like this, then it works. I'm basically wasting a weapon slot here by having the cannons in here. I should just put another beam in there. Heck, another beam would make a huge difference. A regular single beam, not a dual beam bank, but a single beam. Because look at the arc on the single beams. All the way around, yay! Actually from here to here, I mean they go that far around. And then having two in the back, they make up the back end on it. So the beams are like the widest thing. They're, what is it, 180 degree? No, 250 degree targeting arc on the beams. So I would benefit from just putting another beam in there and taking out that dual phaser cannon. So I don't understand on a cruiser why you would ever want to use cannons, and especially just dual cannons, not even dual heavies, because the arc is the same between dual cannons and dual heavies. It's both 45 degrees, so it just makes no sense. Okay, let's use our SIF console. I don't know exactly what it does, but let's turn it on when we go into battle here with this ship. I'm gonna fire and then enable it. Cool effect. Okay, well, I'm getting a feel for how this ship operates. That I'm definitely on board with the fact of having to buff the turn rate on this thing. That was definitely needed. It's as a cruiser, it just turns so slow anyway. I've got to have that increased turn rate. I may do more about that as well. Want to turn off the shield visual on it. Let's also turn off the engine visual just to see what it's like by default. Disable visuals. There we go. That's what it looks like. We got one more patrol, huh? Where are you? Ah, you're way down below me. Going down. Well, that patrol is done. Sweet. Well, there you go. I think that's a very, very good preview of the Europa. Now, it is a Tier 6 starship, so it is Tier 6. We got a long way to go. Look at that. I'm already working on my mastery. So I've got to get all the masteries unlocked. I've got to equip this thing out, and I am thinking at this point of sticking with some type of sensor-linked, emitter-linked, or integrity-linked phasers, just like the Discovery era. I want that Discovery era phaser look on this. So that's probably where I'm going to head in terms of phasers on this. And I'm going to keep with the Aegis set for now. And now that I'm level 50 and stuff, I can start getting fleet stuff. I'll get a better fleet warp core. And start working on getting all the other parts of it upgraded, and of course my bridge officers and their stations, and a lot of work to do on this thing, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep leveling it up. I will do a full review of this starship, but that full review is going to come for sure when after I hit level 65, which is the max level of the game. Because I want to be max level when I review the ship. It is Tier 6, and I want to have the most ability out of it I can when I do the full review. So it's going to be a little while until I get to the full review of this ship. I want to get to level 65, and I want to get the masteries all unlocked, and, you know, get all the gear upgraded. So there's a lot to do, and it's going to take a lot of time. But once I get to level 65, and I have the ship maxed out as much as I can, then I will come back and we'll have another video on this ship, and that will be the full review and the update on this character in terms of, you know, how much I've upgraded the character over that time. But that is what you can expect in the future here on this character, is the full review of this ship, which is the Europa Heavy Battlecruiser Tier 6. I really do like it so far. I think I'm going to like this ship a lot. And thankfully there is the Discovery era look to it, the Nimitz, which I'm definitely going to stick with on this character so that it has that Discovery era theme to it. So that should be a lot of fun. I'll get those Discovery era phasers so it fires like that, and it should be interesting. Should be interesting indeed. Well, I hope you all got something out of that little preview of this new starship. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's warp out. I think it has the same warp effects as Discovery era. There's always this bug where it doesn't warp out correctly. Let's see if I can transwarp to a Sol system and see it warp in. No, or is that the standard? Is that the standard Starfleet warp in, warp out? It's hard to tell. No, that's the Discovery era one. So it can warp in and out Discovery era style. Okay, cool. Turn that in. There we go. That patrol is done. Sweet. Well, there you go. That's the ship. That's a good preview of it. You see what it can do, and I will definitely get to work on this thing so that I can give you a good review as I run into the docking, all the docking area bays. Let's go around them, not into them. Okay, that's better. Always look where you're going. Don't fly backwards. Sweet. Thank you all for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one.